Hey everyone, Panda Cosplay here with another Panda Ponderings video. Just wanted to say a few words before I reveal this audio clip. Many thanks to the Unionville Anime Club for inviting me to do a guest speak on cosplay. I got to do a little Q&A session with them. They were kind of figuring out what cosplay was and wanted to learn more about it, so I was invited to spend time with them and answer a bunch of their questions. Fair warning about the audio, I tried to clean it up as best I could. The beginning and the end kind of get really bad. Unfortunately, my editing skills aren't good enough, so bear with me on that. There was also supposed to be some video with this because we were doing this over Skype. Unfortunately, the video file went corrupt and I wasn't able to salvage it. But I did have the audio file to work with. So I hope you guys enjoy it. Maybe you'll learn something. Maybe you want to share it with some friends who are interested in cosplay and they'll learn something as well. And enjoy the video. See you later.
Can you hear us okay?
Yeah, can you hear me okay?
Yeah, I can hear you. John, this is the club. Anime Club. Say hi to John.
Hi,
John.
Konnichiwa.
So John, I didn't know if you just want to start out telling them a little bit about what you do and how you got into all this.
Well, let's see. I have been a cosplayer for about a few years now. Kind of was like, okay, I go to anime cons and I see people who cosplay, I was like, oh, cool. And then eventually I had a friend sucker me into it, and basically it just went from there and I started cosplaying myself. I don't do that many cosplays right now. There's kind of two methods of cosplaying. There's the people that do as many costumes as they can, and then there's people like me that just like, I'll get around to it.
So, who are your cosplays, or what do you?
I cosplayed as Kyoya Otori from Oran High School Blues Club.
Oh my god! Oh my god!
Yukio from Blue Exorcist. Roy Mustang from Full Metal Alchemist. And my most well-known would be Adam Taurus from Ruby.
Hey!
So those are the ones I have. I do have more lined up. I just have to make them.
So, what is you've got Panda Cosplay now? Is that your?
Yeah, it's Panda Cosplay Productions, or the moniker's usually Wild Look at Panda. And like I said, you can find me on Twitter, Facebook, or YouTube. How much do they know about cosplay?
Oh yeah, I'd like to. My first mention is like early spring. Yeah, and I just cosplayed as an Ambu Black Ops from Naruto. Me and this guy over here, we did a duo.
He was Sanjayama from Kill Kill.
What do you recommend? Do you think it's better to make your own cosplay or buy one?
So the ultimate thing about cosplay, my golden rule about cosplay, and it's usually a golden rule with a lot of other cosplayers, if you're having fun, you're doing it right. It doesn't matter if you make it, it doesn't matter if you buy it, it doesn't matter if you commission it. As long as you are having fun, meeting new people, and creating wonderful experiences, then you're doing it correctly. Yes, there's going to be people out there that be like, oh, you didn't make it, or you're a buyer, or it doesn't really matter as long as you're having fun. You could say they're kind of purists or whatnot, but again, to each their own. If I started out being someone who had someone else make my cosplay. The jacket for my Kyoya, my friend made it for me. The jacket for my Adam, a friend made it for me. My Mustang is actually a bot. But in time, I learned how to make things on my own. Right now, my specialty in terms of cosplay creation process is props. I don't know how to use a sewing machine. Eventually, I'll get to that. But my specialty is prop making, using Dremels, using tools, using thermoplastics. I'm starting to get into 3D printing now. So there's that. And there are people who are really good at prop making who are horrible at sewing. There are people who are really fantastic with sewing, horrible at prop making. There are people who are fantastic at both, and there are people who are not so great at both. But again, the whole thing to it is, are you having fun? If you're having fun, you're doing the right thing. The advantage of making it yourself is I made this from start to finish. I bled, I sweat, I cried, during the whole creation process. That kind of thing that, oh my gosh, I made this, I should be proud of this creation, and I'm going to show it to the world. Don't let the people that criticize you and make fun of you turn you down. There's a difference between critique that is positive and critique that is negative. Critique that is negative, you need to ignore. Those are the people that try to bring you down. They're like, oh, you suck. The positive critiques are, okay, let me show you a technique that will clean your edges. You have this nice, beautiful seam or this nice paint lines. Here are some tips and tricks that you can do to improve yourself. Because in the grand scheme of things, the cosplayers that make it are the ones that help each other. If we help each other, we as a community improve. That is something you don't have to take just in the cosplay community, but just in life in general. Actually, let me show you a prop I've been working on. This is also the reason why I'm a guy that only has so few cosplays, because I'm always going back and trying to perfect the mistakes I made in previous renditions. You guys are most familiar with Ruby, and I cosplay as Adam. You know, he is a very horrible, horrible person, horrible, horrible villain.
Last episode, no!
So I have this prop that I've made. It's his sword. I've upgraded this to do this.
Whoa!
His special ability, you know, you see his weapon light up, so I've designed it so that this lights up as well.
So how do you sort of go about making this light up cosplay items?
So with anything in cosplay, you have to learn. You can either self-teach yourself or someone that knows what they're doing and learn. We have this beautiful resource called the internet. And beautiful tutorials on this wonderful creation called YouTube.
Really?
If you're wanting to learn how to sew, if you're wanting to learn how to make props, go online, look up the tutorials. There are a number of tutorials out there, all sorts of things. But take it simple first. Take it easy first. Start small, start simple, and understand that you're going to make mistakes. If your first effort looks like, for lack of a better term, crap, it's because it's your first try. You don't know what you're doing. It's fine. It's okay. Learn from it and keep going. Whether you go back and remake the thing like I do, or just apply what you learn for other cosplays down the line. Some of the cool cosplays that you guys see out there is the armors, like the Halo armors and the Stormtroopers armor and whatnot. That's actually advanced level. This is intermediate. This is like an intermediate level. Learning how to add LEDs, there's tutorials for that, because one of the things you need to learn is how to solder. For that, you might need an adult because it's hot. You can burn yourself. A good person for tutorials is Johnny Junkers. He utilizes both plastics and woods. Socks cosplays and Bindi Smalls are both phenomenal cosplayers. They're like wizards at 3D printing. So if you ever get a chance, you can look them up. And again, I'll try to send all this information to you guys later. Something simple would be like these. These are actually made of plastic. These are Adam's horns. You start with something simple, and then you just work your way up. And don't be afraid to try. If you eventually I want to do armor, just go for it. Yeah, you're going to mess up. And the problem about messing up is it's going to cost materials, which means you have to go buy more every time you mess up. But it's a learning process. You can't get better unless you don't try. So you need to try in order for you to get better. So I think I answered. I'm going on tangents left and right. I'm sorry. But I hope they're answering your questions. Yeah, right there.
Is it okay to like be a little bit of a minimalist when it comes to cosplay? Like meaning you don't have every detail, just kind of like enough for people to recognize it.
There's a thing that some cosplayers use. It's called the 5-foot rule. If it looks great from 5 feet away, you're golden, as opposed to like 5 inches from the object, entire scrutiny. Because you see this, right? You're seeing this on a monitor, and I'm only about maybe 1.5 feet, 2 feet away, about 2 feet away from my camera. This looks phenomenal. I'm this close to it, and I'm like, this is crap, this is crap, this is crap. You know, there's a dent here, there's a scratch there, but to each their own. And you can see the handle, right? You can barely see this design that I put into it, how it's got that grip. But from all the way over here, you can't really tell. It's just, for me, a personal thing. Like, I put in this little extra effort here. And, you know, when people walk up to you and they see that extra detail, they're like, oh, wow, that's really cool. Or they're going to see the difference, like, oh, wow, that's not as good as I thought it was. But it looks awesome far away. One of my cosplayer friends, she is JJo Cosplay. Half the work in the photos that you see is the cosplayer. The other half is the photographer. She has phenomenal cosplays in terms of her pictures. But if you look at her cosplays up close, and she readily admits this, they're not that pretty. If you want to go that extra mile and do the minute details, more power to you. If you just kind of want to minimalize it, that happens way more often than you think. Yeah.
Like my first cosplay, like I didn't like simulate it. I did like use Unionville from like Kill la Kill. And what I did was that I used marker for the 3-star symbol, and I was like saying like it's not gonna stand out as much. I just want to see what your opinion was on drawing on stuff for cosplay.
Marker is, you have to know what tools are out there. Marker can work if it's designed to work on cloth. There are cloth markers, like if you just use a marker that you, like a Sharpie marker, that usually is pretty good, that usually works. But there are markers and paints out there designed specifically to have to work with cloth, as opposed to having like a marker and having a cloth look. You can have, and when you use acrylic paints, you can put it on cloth and it just doesn't look right. But if you use paint or a marker that's designed to work with cloth, you're going to have a much cleaner, more professional look to it, a better look to it. So what you did is fine. You just didn't know there are tools out there that can make it even better. So now I'm showing you, hey, there's things out there that could take your cosplays up to the next level. And that's what I mean by like a negative critique versus a positive critique. Positive critique would be what I kind of did with you. Is like, okay, what you did is fine. Here's what you can do to make it even better. As opposed to, no, that's horrible. It sucks. Don't even bother. No, stop cosplaying. You know, that's the difference between a negative critique and a positive critique. So what you did is fine. You know, but there's other things out there that if you want to take it up to the next level and make it even look better, they're out there. Does that make sense?
That's good.
Okay. Yeah.
Alright, what's like the most complex thing you've ever done? Like, how long did it take you?
The most complex thing I've done is this. And like I said, I just started getting into LED technology and learning how to solder. This is actually the second time I've made this. Because what happens is you'll go through a lot of prototypes and drafts. The first draft was all right, but the wiring didn't quite work. And I just didn't like it, and the handle was horrible. It fell apart. It actually broke. So I learned from those mistakes, and now I have a lighting design that works much better. The structure is much more sound. It holds better. It's more solid. It's more secure. I am working with a friend. Actually, the next thing on my project is actually the mask for Adam. Basically, I'm taking Adam and kind of giving him the LED treatment. So I'm trying to get a mask, light that up, a jacket that lights up, and then the sword, which I almost finished, light up. So that would be the most complex thing I've done thus far, but it's not the end because I've got other things out there that I want to do. Eventually, actually, one of my many next projects will be armor. So I'm finally making that leap into armor making and that next level of prop design. Have you guys heard of My Hero Academia? Okay. I'm going to be cosplaying as one of the characters from that series. I can't remember that. I just got into the series myself, but he has the jet leg.
The jet leg? Oh, Ida?
Yeah. So he's on my list to do, and his hero form has armor, so I've got to build armor eventually. But that won't be until probably later in the summer. I don't know when I'll debut it. And sometimes a cosplay project will take a year or more from start to finish. So I could be like, I'm gonna make this character. I'll start him in say July or August, but he won't premiere until maybe a year or two later. I've seen people, even the really, really good ones, they could be up to a year. Even I think Jessica Nigri, she's a well-known cosplayer. She's admitted that sometimes it takes a couple of months to even a year to finish some of her really elaborate cosplay. It's not our full-time job. We don't get paid for this. We lose money on this because we have to buy the materials and make the stuff. So this is something we do on the side. We have full-time and part-time jobs that pay for this. So yeah, I mean, if you guys want to get into cosplay, you're in for a world of wonderment because you get to express your creative sides. You get to interact with people at conventions. And wearing a cosplay is kind of a badge of, hey, this is a series I like. If you recognize it, come up to me, say, hey, that means, boom, automatically, you and I have something in common that we like. Besides being at a convention, we like a similar series. Yeah.
So before you even start like any cosplay, like what do? Do you like research the character in like general, and like how every detail they look like?
It depends. It kind of goes back to his previous question of like how minimalistic you want to be. You still want to make it, again, look good, but reference picture. You cannot have enough reference photos, front, back, side, even the angles. Because the more reference pictures you got, the more your cosplay will match what you're trying to replicate. So reference pictures, reference pictures, reference pictures. Whether it's from the anime or the manga, the only thing you have to be concerned about is the difference between a manga and an anime. Because anime will remove some of the detailing because they have to animate it. So that's something you have to be mindful of. In preparations, get your reference pictures. And then if you're going to be doing sewing, make sure you have your correct measurements are up to date. Same thing with props and whatnot. And look, if you're making a prop, look how the prop is in proportion to that character, and then make sure you make that proportion to yourself. Because you can make a weapon or any prop. It's like, this prop is exact measurements of what's in the anime. And let's say it's something that's this big, and you're this small. It's going to look cartoonishly oversized on you. So you have to remember ratio proportions. Get the measurements, and then compare it to yourself, and adjust the size of it accordingly. Otherwise, you're going to have something that's it's going to be too small or too big. So make sure you adjust properly. Red shirt in the back.
I was wondering if you ever thought about doing any video game cosplays.
I just haven't really found anything. Cosplay runs the gamut. It's not just anime. It's video games, it's TV series, it's live action, it's animated, it's movies, it's TV series. So I haven't really found anything to my liking for video games yet, but I also have to admit I'm not much of a video gamer anymore. Play that many video games, so I don't really know what's out there. I know that League of Legends is huge in the cosplay community. There's so many League of Legends cosplayers out there, and the costumes for that is fantastic. They're beautiful. I just haven't played enough video games to really get into that part.
So, 2 questions. So cosplay can also be like, say, it can be like for music too, right? If say like a musician. Okay, like if the musicians are going for like crazy costumes like Kiss or Slipknot or something.
Yeah.
Alright. And also, should you yourself like try and act like the character who you're representing too?
It's up to you. Just understand when you're cosplaying and someone comes up to you, you've already established that illusion of disbelief that you are the character. So it's not a good idea to cosplay something you have no familiarity with. You could be like, oh, this looks really cool, get all these reference pictures and make the costume, but then all of a sudden your mannerisms don't match up with the costume. So you need to at least act, for my personal beliefs, act out the parts a bit. Extend that illusion further. I did this a lot when I was Kyoya, being the very that suave demeanor and whatnot. Got a lot of girls to fangirl and squee and scream. But yeah, it was a lot of fun. Adam, I get to be very menacing and very like condescending and evil and intimidating. So if you're into theater, it's a good outlet, because not only are you making the costume, you get to act out the part. So I'm a bit of a believer in making sure that you portray the character that you cosplay. Not everyone does it. Does it hurt you or help you? It goes either way. But for me, I like doing it so that people who come up to me can enjoy that experience even further. Yeah.
Do you know any like upcoming conventions that you're going to be going to, like around our area, like in the future?
It's a shame that you mentioned Zenkai-Con, because I'd actually gone to Zenkai-Con the past 2 years. I just couldn't go this past year just because of scheduling conflicts. So the next convention I'll be going to as an attendee is going to be RTX down in Austin. That's the Rooster Teeth Expo, the creators of Ruby and whatnot. So I'll be going there. That's 4th of July weekend. That's obviously not in your neck of the woods. The closest con I could think of would be Otakon over in Baltimore. So I'll be going to that convention as an attendee. Regardless, I'll still try to make it to Zenkai-Con. It was a lot of fun. I'd love to go back again. It's just scheduling with life and work. Yeah.
Yeah, that's fine. Let's do maybe a couple last questions.
Okay. Do you think it's important when cosplaying to like you yourself physically sort of be similar to the character?
Absolutely, positively, no. It doesn't matter what your skin tone is, it doesn't matter what gender you are, it doesn't matter your body type. If you want to cosplay someone, cosplay them. If you don't have the right hair color for that character, that's what wigs are for. If you don't have the same skin tone or the body type, who cares? Are you having fun? That's what matters. So body type, skin tone, whatnot, who cares? Just have fun with it.
Do you prefer cosplaying as like a specific character or like a member of like a group or a organization in series?
It's personal preference, really. I personally cosplay like certain characters. I've noticed I kind of run the gamut. You know, you've got Kyoya, you've got Roy Mustang, you've got Adam Taurus, and you've got Yukio. None of those characters are they're all pretty dissimilar from each other. But I like cosplaying all of them. And then throw in the other characters I might try to do in the future. It's just cosplay what you like. That being said, there's group cosplays where you have a whole bunch of friends who are like, hey, let's all cosplay from this series and let's do it together. That works if you can handle the logistics of it properly. Make sure everyone's communicating and everyone's on track, because I've seen where group cosplays happen and they're all making it, but then one or two people kind of lag behind, and then you've got almost everyone minus one or two characters because they just didn't finish the costumes. Flip side of that, when I was Kyoya, I went to an Otakon by myself. But while I was at Otakon, I met other people that were cosplaying from Oron, Tamaki, Honey, Mori, and we were just like, hey, obviously you like Oron because you're cosplaying from it. Let's hang out. And so I actually have a little Oron group now. We've all kind of dispersed and went our ways, but anytime we have a chance, we'll just like, hey, you know. And it's no longer about Oron. It's like I made solid friendships with these people. And you never know where cosplay will take you. One of my favorite experiences with cosplay was the fact that it comes from Ruby. 2 years ago, I made a YouTube video in my Adam cosplay doing parkour. And because of that, I actually got a chance to go to RTX Australia earlier this year. So something I did 2 years ago allowed me to go to Australia. So you never know who you'll meet, what you'll do. Cosplay is a wonderful experience. It is both an artistic expression and a wonderful way to meet new people and have great and wonderful experiences. And I'll give your teacher contact information. It's Wild Look at Panda on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter.
Alright, yeah, I'll make sure to share that with them. And thanks again, John.
Yeah, thank you. Bye.
Bye.
Thank you.